Pachycephalosaurus is a relatively small herbivore from the late Cretaceous. It could grow up to 4.5 meters or 14.8 feet in length. Its most notable feature is its domed skull. The rear of its skull was covered in bony knobs and blunt spikes. The function of its unique dome skull has been a subject of much debate. One theory is that it would behave similarly to modern bighorn sheep. This would mean the males would headbutt each other to establish dominance. A study in 2013 found that 22% of Pachycephalosauridae had injuries on their dome, which would support this theory. Pachycephalosaurus was one of the last non-avian dinosaurs and went extinct during the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction. Quetzalcoatlus is the largest known flying animal. They had a wingspan of 10 meters or 32 feet, which is close to the wingspan of a small Cessna plane. When on land, they would walk on 4 legs and would have a similar size to an adult giraffe. The feeding habits of this giant sky terror has been a point of discussion for many years. At first, it was thought to be a scavenger like a vulture. However, its beak would not have been suited for this lifestyle. Another theory was that it skimmed across the water to catch fish. This theory is also questioned, as it would take way too much energy for such a gigantic creature. The current accepted theory is that it behaved similar to a stork, stalking small animals on the ground, or trying to catch fish and amphibians at the edge of streams. Ankylosaurus is one of the most popular and famous armored dinosaurs. It walked on 4 legs and was covered in armored plates and had a large club at the end of its tail. Their armor covered their entire back, neck, head, and even their eyes. Due to how incomplete the remains are, it is difficult to tell with certainty how big this creature would have been. The current estimate is that it was between 6 and 8 meters or 20 and 26 feet in length. The club tail is theorized to have been used to fight off predators or other ankylosaurs. Adults could likely swing their tail with enough force to break bone. It was likely relatively slow, but with its impressive defensive capabilities, predators would have to be really desperate to take on one of these tanks. Ankylosaurus shared its habitat with other large dinosaurs like Triceratops, Edmontosaurus, and even Tyrannosaurus rex. Stegosaurus was an herbivore from the late Jurassic. They were heavy-build and could reach up to 9 meters or 29 feet in length. It has an iconic look with its large back plates and 4 large spikes at the end of its tail. As usual with extraordinary features, it is questioned what the purpose of the tail spikes were. The two theories are that it was either for defense or for display purposes. While it is always difficult to tell, there are several pieces of evidence that point to it being used for self-defense. The first piece of evidence is a study that showed that almost 10% of Stegosaurus specimens found had damaged or injured tail spikes. Another piece of evidence is a fossil of an Allosaurus tailbone being punctured by a Stegosaurus spike. That said, there are also studies that show that the backplates would hinder the tail's flexibility, making it difficult to swing around. Let me know your opinion in the comments, and thanks for watching. Deinocheirus was first discovered in 1965. Unfortunately, the recovered fossils were only a pair of arms. These remains would be all we had to go off for nearly 50 years. It was not until 2013 that 2 new specimens were found. Combined, we now had a near-complete skeleton of Deinocheirus. The largest specimen was about 11 meters or 36 feet in length. Like the Therizinosaurus, it had long claws which were likely used for digging and gathering plants. Its duck-like beak might indicate that it foraged in water. Because it didn't have any teeth, it relied on stomach stones to help digest its food. In 2012, scientists discovered bite marks on the remains of the original Deinocheirus fossils. These bite marks were identified as Tarbosaurus marks. An attack by a Tarbosaurus would explain why the original fossil was in the state it was in. Elasmosaurus is one of my personal favorite prehistoric sea animals. Elasmosaurus is a large plesiosaur that lived during the late Cretaceous and could grow to be around 10 meters or 34 feet in length. They are known for their long necks and sea serpent-like heads. It was first discovered in 1867 by Edward Drinker Cope. Cope's original reconstruction of this sea monster had the skull at the tail end. It was also thought that its neck was snake-like and flexible. However, later research indicates that the neck was rather stiff. It lived in the western interior seaway, where it likely hunted on fish by ambushing prey from below. The eyes of Elasmosaurus were located on the top of the head. This would allow it to see directly upward and lets it see the silhouettes of its prey in the sunlight. Thanks for watching, and please consider liking and subscribing. Livyatan is an extinct sperm whale that lived around 9 million years ago. It is estimated that it could reach lengths of up to 17 meters or 57 feet. The teeth of Livyatan are measured at 36 centimeters or 1.2 feet. Aside from tusks, these are the largest biting teeth of any known animal. The teeth were embedded deep into the gums and could also interlock. Adaptations like this are usually for holding struggling prey. It likely pursued similar prey to modern killer whales, hunting things like whales, sharks, dolphins, and seals. Due to its size, we can assume that it probably hunted alone. This monster whale competed with Megalodon for the same food source. Sarcosuchus was one of the largest crocodile-like reptiles that we know of. The largest specimen could grow up to 9 meters or 30 feet in length. It lived during the early Cretaceous around 112 million years ago. From the location where it was found, we can tell that it lived in a freshwater river environment. While Sarcosuchus was probably too big to have any predators, it did have some fierce competition. Other large predators like Suchomimus also lived in the same habitat and likely hunted the same food. It likely had a generalized diet that included both fish and dinosaurs. Unlike the Deinosuchus, Sarcosuchus was likely unable to perform a death roll. This means that it likely didn't dismember large prey like modern crocodiles do. Sarcosuchus likely went extinct as a result of lowering water levels and natural disruption to their habitat. Suchomimus was a relatively large theropod from the early Cretaceous. They could grow up to 11 meters or 36 feet in length. It is unknown what the age of the holotype specimen was, so the current size estimate might not be from a full-grown adult. They belong to the same family as the Spinosaurus, and like other spinosaurids, it likely ate mainly fish and small animals. The name Suchomimus means crocodile mimic. It got this name because of its long, shallow skull that is similar to a crocodile. It lived in freshwater floodplains and rivers with a tropical climate. Suchomimus had hollow bones. This means that it was probably unable to hunt well underwater and would likely hunt its prey in shallow waters. The late Cretaceous oceans were home to a wide variety of strange and scary-looking sea monsters. One of these monsters is the Xiphactinus. Xiphactinus was a ferocious predatory fish. They could grow up to 6 meters or 20 feet in length. There have been multiple specimens found with parts of undigested and partially digested prey in their stomachs. From these remains, we can tell that it swallowed its prey whole. It would hunt fish, and even seabirds like Hesperornis. One famous fossil called Fish Within a Fish depicts a 4.2 meter or 14 feet long specimen with an almost perfectly preserved 1.9 meter gillicus inside its stomach. Despite being a large, ferocious carnivore, it wasn't an apex predator. From fossil evidence, we can tell they were preyed upon by other large predators like sharks. Thanks for watching, and please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching, and please consider liking and subscribing.